The Kansas City Streetcar really put Kansas City on the map for us because it helps solve a collective action problem. And it also shows that the city is committed to having development occur in a certain area. Development supports other development. And so when we were confident that the city is essentially directing and shaping the course of development along this streetcar line, we felt good coming from out of town that Kansas City was committed to this kind of development and was going to help do the things that make it a success.
For Kansas City, with a modest public transportation system, getting fixed rail and fixed transit is really important. The fact that it's fixed here and in other cities allows developers and investors to know where the transit is going to go. Buses are a critical component outside of the fixed, but the fixed allows you to be able to rely for the next 50, 100 years of where the development patterns are going to be shaped.
When you're trying to attract tenants to housing, especially urban housing, household expenditures play a really key role in how renters decide where they're going to live. The streetcar, in our mind, opens up that possibility for people to spend their income in ways that gives them a better lifestyle.
Our investors are only interested in lots on the streetcar line. They think it's important in attracting a younger audience to move downtown. It certainly is a convenience to get your groceries, to go to restaurants, and just travel to work and back.
We are a very attractive city for millennials and millennials of talent, and they're looking for something different than suburbia.
When people can live in a place where they don't have to drive everywhere, they can take the streetcar, they're in essence voting with their dollar and saying, we're doing what we can. And the streetcar is in essence a lever that you give people to pull to say that we care about things like climate change and even social equity because it reduces household expenditures.
People need to change the mindset of looking at traffic as a bad thing. A lack of traffic is not a sign of success. In fact, I'd say it's a sign of a lack of success. What the streetcar and other transportation options are is about how do you get more people into a relatively concentrated area, whether it's to live there, to work there, to play there. And in fact, everything works best when you have options for all three. So what I would like to see is that businesses in the Kansas City area make more of a commitment to coming downtown. In fact, the workers of the future are going to demand being located in an area that has all three.
You have to have a means of getting those bodies in. And so the extension, which looks like it'll go out through the plaza and beyond to UMKC, where some of the population centers are, is a really important component of what we're doing.
One of the most exciting things happening in our neighborhood is the conservatory. There really needs to be an easy link for the students to be able to go back and forth between classes. And so I think phase 2 of the streetcar will be great for that to happen. I think the people who live around the plaza, live around the university, already use Crossroads. Crossroads always uses that community. We're already good neighbors, and I think it can only expand with the expansion of the streetcar.
I think for developers and investors, it's an easy sell these days. I think sometimes in Kansas City, we're cautious about making changes, and I think we have lines like the suburban people don't want to come in or vice versa. But if we could get people to come in and see the transformation that's been made in our downtown, I think they would be very impressed.
The more people get used to using transit, the less likely they will feel that they need maybe a second car. So that will be a real game changer because it'll change the economics of how we develop, and we'll be able to put more quality in the units themselves versus spending money on additional parking spaces that won't be needed in the future.
I think the streetcar is just going to be another opportunity for our scale to expand a little bit without having to have so much density and still keep our neighborhood feeling about it, but still welcoming new people to come to the neighborhood.
If you look at the national trends as it relates to public transportation, you'll find that property values actually increase 20 to 30% at a minimum when public transportation is included as an option in a fixed basis like we're doing here in Kansas City. So I think anybody that's really doing their research or even just asking a couple questions will find that if they're interested in promoting increased property values, increased business traffic, will have no other option but to realize the fact that the data speaks for itself and that this is nothing but a huge win for Kansas City as we look for other options and connectivity throughout our city.
Well, I would encourage the public, private property owners, residents, transit riders to get actively engaged in the conversations for how we're growing and improving our systems over time. The public desire to see improvements in services is going to be what's going to dictate whether or not we expand these systems in the future, whether or not we grow ourselves into a modern 21st century world-class regional transit system, regional downtown. It's going to take public involvement to get that done.